Hey guys, and welcome back to another lap guide here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Emery. We're here for week 4 of season 1 of 2025 at the Long Beach circuit. Let's get into the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Long Beach circuit. Now this is usually a track where you'd be driving a Formula car, just as the barriers are quite close. Obviously IndyCar drives in real life. So it's not really suited to this car too much. It's quite a wide car for the track, but still quite a lot of fun nonetheless. So we start on the pit straight here, taking it to the right hand side, as close to the right hand wall as we can, and then we head towards turn 1 for the braking zone. Flick it to the left-hand side just to make sure we can open up the entry to the next corner for turn 1, and then flick it back to the right-hand side. Get late on the brakes. In terms of reference, you're looking towards the end of this curb, and then this line as well here. If you can just kind of make it out, there's a lot going on the track here, and then this 500-meter board you have here as well. Make sure you don't cross this line into the pit lane as well, as you will pick up a slowdown. Just watch out for that one as well. That's about the limit there. And then down to second gear, into the apex. Can take quite a lot of curb at the apex, and then get on the throttle as early as you can and hug the wall on the outside. I'll just slow that down for you once more. So brake in about the 500-meter board, and then just nice and gentle on the brakes. Don't want to lock up here, so there's not really anywhere to go. Down to second gear, trailing towards the apex, and then as we get on the curb, we're getting back on the throttle, and then just trailing it out towards the outside wall. I'm just going to show you what that corner looks like in Delta, just so you can see the nice smooth brake trace. So this is what turn 1 looks like in Delta, guys. So as usual, you guys know how this all looks by now. Got the Delta at the top, your throttle, brake traces, steering, your gear ratios, and selected gear and things like that at the bottom. So a really nice and smooth brake trace for turn 1, and that's kind of a common theme for this circuit, just with all the bumps in the braking zones. Not really going too much above 70% really for a lot of these braking points, just to contend with the bumps. Really easy to lock up if you catch a bump at the wrong angle, and then obviously just a nice gentle throttle towards the wall on the exit. And yeah, this is what it will look like for you guys. Obviously, you can compare it to our hot laps as well at the top here of the Delta. But yeah, let's get on with the hot lap. And then back to the video, guys. So coming into turn 2 and 3 here, into this tricky chicane, obviously with this nice fountain and roundabout. You've got this wall on the inside. Want to make sure you completely avoid that. You just want to make sure you're really coming into the corner as straight as you can from this wall. So if you notice here, we've got a nice straight run into that apex there. And down to second gear, and then first gear at the apex. Use all of the curb you can. You can see actually in the shrubbery a bit there as well. But in first gear, using this part of the pavement as well, just to get a bit of rotation on the car, and then on the throttle as early as you can. Hug that wall, get as close to it as you can, just to try and straighten the exit, and then full throttle into the next right-hander, sticking in second gear, not upshifting to third before the corner. Just a slight dab of the brake pedal as well, just before we turn in. And then again, using quite a lot of the curb, not using too much. As you can see, there's a few sausage curbs on the inside, and that part of the curb's quite sloped, which can unsettle the car. and then fire you towards that wall. So just be careful. But on the throttle as early as you can. Run along this wall on the outside. You can see how close we're getting there. Just to open up the next right-hander. Slightly uphill braking as well. And then down to second gear again, all over this curb on the inside. In the Formula cars, there's a bit more of an issue, this curb, but in the Porsche, you absolutely fly over it. So you can take quite a lot of this inside curb. Don't take any more than this, as you'll pick up a slowdown, so just watch out for that one. And then on the throttle as early as we can, quite bumpy on the exit, but all fair and square. And then up to this next left-hander. Now, the circuit actually widens slightly just before you turn in. So you want to use as much of the track as you can. You can see here it kind of narrows again. But again, we're kind of hugging the wall to the right-hand side. Down to second gear, get as close to the wall on the inside as you can. And then on the throttle, this one's a really tricky traction zone. You can see the track kind of falls away from you slightly. I'm not sure if you can see from this angle. But on the throttle here, the track kind of slopes away towards the wall, which can make it a bit harder for the traction. And you see we also have a bit of snap and slide on the exit. Just be really careful, especially in the race. You don't want to wear your rear tyres too much and overheat them. And then back across to the left-hand side. It's probably the widest part of the circuit. Just open up this next right-hander onto the back straight. So braking in a nice straight line, down to second gear, get it turned in as early as you can, just to get as close to this wall, and then we can get on the throttle very early. Full throttle towards the wall, again, leaving no margin for error on the outside. And then full throttle on the back straight towards the final couple of corners of the lap. Quite a bumpy area, very, very hard to overtake as well, especially in this car. To be honest, I don't think there'll be too much overtaking this week, unless, the car in front makes a mistake. So you have to take your chances on lap one. And as I say, look for some mistakes ahead. But coming into the right-hander then, braking just before the 400-meter board on the left-hand side up here. And then quite a bumpy braking zone. Just be careful, don't lock up your tyres. If you are struggling with front locking, obviously just switch the brake bias to the rear slightly. And then again, you can use all of this inside curb here. Would be a bit harder to use in the Formula cars, but in this Porsche, absolutely no problem at all. Back on the throttle, and then you've got a double left-hander. Open up as much as you can to the outside in third gear, then the shift down to second at the first apex, and then just be really patient here. Back on the throttle slightly, and then you want to be as far left as you can coming into this final corner, just so you don't compromise your exit too much. Full lock, about 30 kilometers an hour at the apex, and still holding the brake even at the apex. So you can see we're just really trying to get the rotation. You can also see we're braking all the way from sort of back here on the curb, and holding the brake all the way to the apex, still on the brakes here, and then throttle as early as you can, use all of the track available to you, and that completes a lap of the Long Beach circuit. So that was the hot lap guide then for the Long Beach circuit for week 4. I hope that was really useful for you guys. Obviously check out all the latest data packs on the CoachDaveAcademy.com website. All the latest hot lap guides as well can be found on our YouTube channel. But yeah, I will see you next week for week 5, guys. So take care.